I remember when I first went to the desert with my family as a kid, and I kind of expected it to look like the Sahara. I expected these giant sand dunes, no plants anywhere, and that just wasn't the case. There were things that were alive and that were growing, and they didn't look like plants back home. But there were gardens in a way. And that's where we find ourselves today, right? On Easter Sunday, we find ourselves back in the garden, a new garden this time, right? The garden of the resurrection, the garden of the new creation, where Christ is risen and we too can be made sharers in his new life. And it's beautiful and it's a celebration and it's cause for rejoicing. But for some of us, we might still feel a little bit of the desert inside. We might still feel a little bit of Holy Saturday inside, even if it's Easter Sunday all around us. And I think that we can take hope from today's gospel. Even though the stone is rolled away and Jesus is resurrected, notice that the disciples don't actually meet him yet. Mary Magdalene does later. We find out later on in John's gospel. But Peter and John, who raced to the tomb, they haven't seen Jesus yet. The rest of the women who went to the tomb, they haven't seen Jesus yet. They still have to wait. There's still a fulfillment of hope that's still right around the corner. And so for all of us, no matter where we're at, whether we feel Easter in our hearts, whether we still feel Lent in our hearts, today's gospel reminds us, today's feast reminds us that this is all a process. This is all a process in our hearts. And even if we still feel in the midst of the desert, the truth is the life of grace that's available in the garden is available to us today. So as we pray, as we rejoice, let's ask God for that grace, the grace of the garden and the grace of new life.